Cue the music. Hey.
Do I do the dance?
Yes. Hey, get it. Hey. Oh. Welcome, everybody, to the Project FitFo podcast. Man, it has been a minute, but we've been on pause for about a month or two. We're back at it. And my first guest is probably, oh, Lord.
Best guest.
One of my best guests. I've had some pretty good guests here. Some pretty great, greatness sitting across from me. But I have greatness today, that I will admit.
Right now is all that matters.
Okay. You just be in the now.
Yeah.
I can see this is going to go really, really well. Let me introduce this gentleman that's across from me because I think it's important for everybody to understand how important it is for everyone to have a mentor. How important it is for everybody to have a sounding board, a human being that you can literally bounce ideas off of, and a person who's going to be the realest that they can be to you to get you to steer to the right direction. And sometimes that also means hurting your feelings. This guy. So I want everybody to please welcome Mr. Stephen Kopshaw. Hey, there we go. Okay. Can I get an applause for this guy real quick? Thank you.
It feels like we're in front of 500 people right
Absolutely.
there.
So what I will say is that Steve has been one of the, I would say, important pieces to my growth and my scaling since I've been, in this game, especially post-military, in the fitness industry. And we kind of met just on a unique situation. But first, I want to say welcome.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited to come, hang out, bust some chops.
Yeah.
Drop some knowledge.
Absolutely. We do have a unique relationship.
I wouldn't say it's unique.
Yeah, we go back and forth. We, mess with each other and everything like that.
Fun relationship.
So do me a favor. Tell everybody who you are, where you come from, and what the hell are you doing here?
Well, I'm stiff, as you would say now, as you're making fun of me and everything.
You got it.
No, I'm Steve Kopshaw. I am a business coach. I help people grow and scale their businesses. And the piece that I really rely on is finding what their freedom is. So obviously this is an ongoing conversation of ours.
Yes.
We're going to dive into that a little bit today.
I'm down.
So you guys be ready.
Mm-hmm.
But I really try to understand what it is that somebody's wanting to do. Mm-hmm. What do they want to achieve in life? And we need to anchor that into something of why are you waking up every single day to go do your thing? If you're just showing up to collect a paycheck, that's not really a great way to live life.
No, it is not.
So we want to be passionate. We want the end in mind, and we want to reverse engineer that end to know what we're doing right now is working us towards that. Mm-hmm. It's easy to spend a lot of energy spinning in circles, but feel busy, feel productive when the reality is you're not. And if I can go back 10, 12 years ago when that really big point in my life happened, I was 25-ish years old. And my mentor at that time was like, hey, you're doing this, but you should be doing that. And I was like, no, it's everybody else's fault. And I don't need to do anything new. And I don't need to learn that thing. And I don't need to. And the reality is I was stopping myself from being able to grow. And because I had somebody who was willing to be honest and help me push outside of what was at the time my comfort zone, I'm able to now sit in a spot where life is what life is, but I get to spread that message, and I've put it into a nice little package to be able to share the message.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely have a lot of knowledge. And how old are you right now?
38.
Okay, so, and the reason why I asked that is because a lot of people, I've asked all my guests how old they are, and it's a journey. A lot of people want everything right now. Give it to me right now. And you just explained about how you were in your 20s, you had a certain mindset, and you were a business owner, and you evolved, and here you are today now coaching for people to evolve as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and you do it through a very unique framework. And what is that called?
So the framework is the FR.E.E.D.O.M framework.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, every entrepreneur, anybody out there who's really trying to vie for themselves, will say, even business leaders and people in your own personal life, we all desire freedom. Entrepreneurs, I'm never going to retire and all these things. And sure, but at a certain point in time, I want you to be where you get to go to work, get to go actively make money or give time versus have to.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we get you to that point in time as soon as we can without doing some dumb shit and being illegal and all the pieces.
Yeah.
But that's really the big thing. And the freedom framework is a 7-step framework that you need to follow to go unlock that freedom for yourself.
And FREEDOM is an acronym.
FREEDOM is an acronym.
And what does it stand for?
Filter, relate, educate, empower, define, optimize, and maximize.
And this is all your concept. You came up with it 100% all by yourself.
All mine, my IP, I own it.
There you go.
Which is nice. It's my unique mechanism.
Okay.
You can't get that from anybody else unless they're copying my stuff.
That's beautiful. So here on the Project FitFo podcast, what I like to do is I like to go back into your earlier years. And we like to talk to our guests about where they came from, what was their upbringing, and then how they evolved into eventually to who they are today. So I know that you told me I'm not allowed to interview you for the whole podcast, right? So we'll keep it short. Okay. So a question to you is, okay, number one, where were you raised, where you grew up at?
So born and raised in Jersey, spent a few years out in Oregon when my parents divorced, and then my mother lost custody of me, and I went back to my father out in Jersey, 3rd, 4th grade, and I've been there ever since.
Okay, and then you grew up in Jersey, and did you go to college?
I went to college in Brooklyn, actually, Polytechnic University, now part of NYU, for engineering, because a little bit of that data geek nerd, in case you couldn't tell that.
No, we know. Those that know Steve, they know.
But I left after 2 years because it just wasn't serving me, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I couldn't lock down the engineering and the things that I was working on and building a computer program that was a calculator. When I'm like, I have my TI-83 plus already. Like, why do I need this thing? It didn't correlate to me that I could be programming self-driving cars at the time. And I don't know if that would have kept me in engineering, but I didn't see the passion or that tie down to something that I thought was going to be impactful. So I left after 2 years.
And then what did you get into?
Started working front desk at a gym because needed a job. Dad wasn't going to pay the bills anymore, and I wanted to get a gym membership because I needed to get in better shape to go to be a paid firefighter at the time. And front desk at the gym was 2 birds, 1 stone. I was making my $6.25 an hour, and I got a free gym membership out of it, which was amazing, except waking up at 3:30 in the morning and work until 10 a.m. and then napping in the middle of the day. And I was like, wow, I got this thing to be healthy, and I actually got less healthy because that feels wrong. So I got into fitness. Personal trainers were making more money, and I'm like, hey, I'm at the gym, which is cool, but let me understand the gym. Let me understand what this whole world is truly about. And started doing personal training. Just wanted to learn more about that for myself and then make more money. And geez, that was late 2006 that I got my Foundations of NASM, I think it was at the time. So we're going on 18 years since my first little piece of paper that said Steve knows how to dumbbell curl. So yeah, and that was really the start of my, call it, professional career in the fitness industry.
Because you've owned gyms, you've sold gyms, you've evolved to franchising.
Yep.
You became a franchisor yourself, and then you were consulting for franchises.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
And I also own massage studios.
You own massage studios.
Yeah.
And so as this evolved, eventually you said, I want out.
So 2014 was that big conversation I referred to earlier around my mentor and, hey, what are you working on? 2016, 2017, shortly after the election, Cambridge Analytica, there was that data scandal that came out with Facebook and the advertising and the data that you had on the back end. Well, I had to now learn marketing, or I was going to lose all my businesses at the time. So I learned marketing. I started to understand it, how to do ads, how to build a landing page, and just enough to get by. And I was able to go out and save my businesses through learning a new skill. And I was like, hey, and before that, it was, Steve, you doing marketing? No. No interest. Hard no. Have you ever seen what marketing does to the inside of somebody? Like, there's no way. Not doing that. Right? That's a sushi reference, Mark, just in case.
I don't eat sushi for everybody's situation awareness. Go ahead.
You don't eat sushi yet.
Moving on.
Open mind. But so I went down that road, started learning it, and then I had other franchisees who were like, hey, can you help me? So, yeah, of course. I'd like to help. Like, it's just who I am. So I started doing that, and they were getting success, and it was working. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, the CEO of a massage franchise was like, hey, I challenge you that this studio that you're going to go open, you can't beat us. We're going to open ours better than yours. And I'm like, I don't lose. Like, it's not in my blood to lose. So challenge accepted. Like, let's go. And not only did I win, but I wrecked them. Like, wrecked them. They opened, and on the 30th day, they had 63 memberships, which was really good for the franchise and things like that. Not a record, but really good. On the first day, so 30 days sooner, and if you're listening, Mr. CEO, I beat you. But 30 days sooner, I processed 185 credit cards on the first day that I opened. Nearly tripled what he did.
Wow.
And that changed the complete trajectory of what they were able to do, because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try something I've never done before, and this is the way we're going to do it. And I took all the skills that I had taught myself and I learned, and took some courses here, and just, Google academies and YouTube Academy and all the things, and it worked. And that was really the first, like, wow, cool. And then I get the ego things, and back then, like, ego was what mattered. And the only thing I cared about, there's a couple things I got, but the only thing I cared about was that I was going to get announced at the national conference in front of all couple hundred franchisees that Steve beat me. And that's the only thing I wanted. Well, that happened, and I was like, man, I'm the king, and you can't. Like, I won. I crushed you. It was amazing. Well, the more amazing thing was a woman who came up and has yet to open her business. And she said to me, you don't even know how much you changed my life. I'm no longer afraid to invest my life savings, put my house on the line, risk my family's comfort and safety because of what you did. And it was one of those, like, somebody says something to you and you get, your hair stands up, all that. And you're like, oh my God.
You get goosebumps.
And that feeling trumped the ego feeling. For like the first time in my life, I was like, wow, completely unexpected, not what I was looking for. And on the other side of that, I was like, this is impact. Like, helping somebody do more push-ups, lose some weight, feel better after massage was fantastic in my businesses. But now if I could help the business owner help those people, that's a whole different layer of impact.
Yeah.
And so I started doing consulting work, started selling my businesses off, kind of getting rid of all that stuff, and went down that road. Made some judgment errors, I would say, early on, where I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to go help franchises and do these things. And, I can hang with their CMOs and COOs. And factually speaking, I could. But if you don't have that fancy little piece of paper hanging behind your desk like the CMO does, well, you can't know nothing. There's no way. And I was like, so I got kind of tired of dealing with that battle. This, for me, I'm not into the pissing contest. Like, you and I have fun, we have banter, but it's not the serious, like, no, literally, you've never done this thing, so it's impossible for you. You didn't go to school for 4 years, so it's impossible for you to be good at this. And it's like, so I left that, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and I want to work in an entrepreneurial company for a little bit. I want to go solve problems again. I want to go and leverage the skills that I have to just be me.
Yeah.
So started doing that, working within some companies, and that was fun and enjoyable and lots of lessons learned. And, here 3-4 years later, I'm like, I'm going to go back to my roots and run my own businesses and do my thing, because it's just going to be better off for everybody.
Would you say you're a better business owner than you are employee?
Yes. Yeah. I think I could be a really good employee if you're a good leader of me.
But that would be somebody who would need to be, like, exceptional leader.
Correct.
To be above you.
Yeah. Like, I'd have to have a really strong, compelling reason to just be like, yep, okay, gonna do it all the time.
No, that makes sense. It's funny because that's one of the things that after I retired from the military, it was one of the things I had to come to grips with, that I am not a good employee. I'm not, and it's okay to say that. I'm really not. Make me a leader of my own business and my own, route.
Yeah.
And put people underneath my charge. I'm I'll guide them to success. But having me as an employee, you need to be a top level, like exceptional leader for me to work for you.
Correct.
And unfortunately, in this world, in this day and age, we'll get to that later. People's objectives and their mindsets are a little off.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to, really get to know where their direction is, where their moral compass is,
Mm-hmm.
takes a little while. And then when you finally find out, you're like, oh, this doesn't align with me. And now you're stuck because you're an employee.
Yep.
And sometimes you put yourself so deep in the basket that, it's going to be a while before you can get out.
It's going to be a while before you can get out. You got employees that you're trying to still pull up, and you got to worry about them. You got clients or whatever the case may be that you care about as well. And you get that little bit of like, man, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Feeling.
Well, that's what I felt. I mean, that's what I felt a few times. And I was like, I need to go.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's no strike on those individuals. In the past, that's their mentality and it works for them, but it just didn't work for me. And I knew that being an employee was just not going to be good. And I'm sure you felt the same way. It wasn't good for us individually to grow.
Correct.
Right. So pretty awesome. I love it. Project FitFo is, the reason why I developed it, this podcast, was because I'm really interested to hear how people figured it the F out. It's twofold, right? So one, it's people that are on that side of this podcast. I want to know how you figured it the F out all along the way, right? For two reasons. One, for those people that are out there that they get into that rut and that miserable feeling of, I just can't do it. How am I going to do it? Nobody understands what I'm going through. I love that one.
Yep.
And it's like, you do realize millions of people have gone through the same thing you've gone through, and they figured it the F out. So you can too. The other piece is showing that mentality to figure it the F out, where a lot of people fold and they're like, I just don't want to do it.
Yep.
So if I was to ask you, what was your greatest challenge so far in your career that you really had to figure out a way, somehow, some way to get out of, which one was it? And what, let us know.
I would say it was my leadership skill set early on. I became a fitness manager of a 40,000 square foot big box gym facility at like 22 years old. And I had trainers I was the youngest kid on the block, clearly, trainers who were in their 50s, all of these things. And I developed the mentality because I didn't have the skill set to create the relationships. I didn't have that ability yet. I just didn't learn it. I probably an experience thing, but also just a path of life that I just wasn't in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned into this, well, I'm your boss, you have to mentality. And at the time, it kind of worked for a little bit. But then you got everybody talking crap behind your back. You got people who like tell you yes to your face and really mean no, and you just keep going down this road of slamming your head against the wall. I remember one of my first business, it was my first or my second, my business partner at the time had said, hey, you need to be a little bit gentler with the employees and say thank you once in a while. Something along those lines. And I'm like, I don't have to say thank you. Their paychecks is the thank you.
Why is I can so see you saying that?
Oh man,
I can so see you saying that.
It's funny, and I won't say the exact screenshot here, but there was a post on Facebook from like 14 years ago, and it was business partner telling me that me talking to the employees is like, imagine somebody in history who just hated a certain population of people and him talking to those people. And it's like, but it's real.
Wow.
Like I used to be that asshole. Like you work for me, so you do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a two-way street on respect. There wasn't a two-way street on communication. I didn't know how to explain, here's the things that need to get done with the why. There was no vision other than like, yeah, show up for work. And I was a terrible leader. And that was a big conversation in that 2014 kind of time frame where, oh, I have 4 businesses and I'm unhappy. How's that possible? How did I get here? And my mentor's like, well, why do you think? And I'm like, well, that reason and that reason and that reason and that reason and all those reasons are the reason that I'm unhappy. And he's like, okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna help you out a little bit though. I'm gonna give you a little cheat code on why you're not happy. And I'm like, all right, what's wrong? He's like, you're the reason. And I'm like, no, I'm not the reason. That's the reason, and that's the reason. And I just continued to defend it. And it took like that call, the next call I show up and we talked every week. He's like, so did you think about you being the reason? And I'm like, yeah, that's the reason. And I just kept going. But finally I started to really go, all right, let's say that that's not the reason. Like, let's pretend that I am the reason just for a moment, even though I'm not, but let's pretend.
Mm-hmm.
What would I do to fix it if I was in control and it was my fault? So I came up with random ideas, and I don't remember the specifics at this point in time. And the first thing I did, it worked. And I'm like, no, it was an accident. It was an accident. The economy allowed that one to happen. That's why.
Yeah.
So I did the next thing, and I was like, oh man, maybe it is me. Like, maybe I need to be better. And if I want better, I have to be better. And that was really one of the biggest catalysts to me starting to like listen to audiobooks. How do I do things I've never done before? Just to never be able to say like, hey, have you tried this? If I say no to that person, I'm like, no, but I'm down. One time. If I trust you. I mean, if somebody on the corner, I have no idea, right? But so for me, it really became I'm going to start just saying yes to trying things. It's okay if I don't like it on the other side. If I learn a new skill and I don't leverage it, that's totally fine. If I get something that helps, I'm not upset.
Mm-hmm.
If that new skill, if that new relationship, if that new experience changes my life marginally for the better, and it didn't cost me something that was too astronomical, why wouldn't I try it? If somebody I care about is telling me, all right, and it was like little things here and there, and, so let me go get a skydiving license because, skydiving sounds cool. Learn marketing, start reading books, read a Crucial Conversations book, go through that stuff, start to think about leadership, start to think and really try to dive into money, start to do all of these things that I had always avoided. We banter about the money stuff all the time for the past day and a half, 2 years of our lives. But like I used to be that bury my head in the sand about the money and the P&L kind of person because I didn't want to face the truth. And now I'm like, give me all the P&Ls. Like, let me read those things, right? And it's just a whole different aspect of I had to learn those skills, so I wasn't afraid of it. And I realized I was afraid of a lot of that stuff because I didn't like to fail. I didn't know how to fail. I was generally good at the things that I did, but I knew what I wasn't good at either. Like, I played hockey as a kid, but definitely didn't play basketball, right? Just not good at it. So why try? And I had to change that and shift that in my adult side of things in order to continue to grow and be where I wanted to be.
Very interesting. I love that. Leadership is, those leadership concepts. I get so mad sometimes that people can't see what we go through in the military, especially over a 21-year span when it comes to leadership. The leadership challenges that come up. It's a lot more difficult than what a lot of people think. And I think, honestly, I owe all my true leadership to those experiences. And I realize, with you telling your story, that a lot of people don't have the avenues to be able to learn leadership as quickly as we did in the military. I also don't like that military service members who don't use that to their advantage, that they have that extreme, access, prior to really getting back into the real world, that you're a leader, you were bred a leader, and use that for the world, So it's interesting to see how you spoke of that. So that was your greatest challenge, as you came about. Now you are building your own businesses. And I say with the S because you've got multiple, right? Why you laugh? Because
Yeah, I'm proud.
Oh,
I'm
you're
happy.
happy. Okay, because
I'm excited.
I thought the laughing was that you were telling me that I have too many businesses again.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
No. Hold on. Go find me a message where I said you have too many businesses, Mark.
Oh, you definitely did not write it down.
Oh, so now we have no proof.
We have no proof.
Real convenient.
So with that, I wonder, what's the goal? Where are you going from here? 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What's for the future?
What's the big goal or the businesses? Like where are we talking here?
I mean, the first thing that pops into your head.
So I think one of the coolest things that I want to be able to do is go out and help educate people from middle school and high school ages. I want to start effectively like a foundation, nonprofit, and give them other avenues to learn. I want them to have real problem solving, to start to think outside of the box other than what just school teaches us. I'm not saying we're not going to go on a school bashing rant right now.
Yeah. I got you.
But the reality is school does teach you to memorize information and then just regurgitate it for a test, which has its place to an extent. But also they don't teach you to think outside the box, solve problems. So I think it'd be an amazing opportunity to go out and, hey, here's this access to every student that's in America, in the world eventually, and you have ways to go solve problems. You learn new skills that are age appropriate. For example, my daughter has already built a landing page, and she's done VSLs to try to sell people Girl Scout cookies. And I made her get on camera, record it, and then that was on the internet because I wasn't willing to just post it to Facebook with her doing no work. So here's the work you have to do. And on the other side of it, she sold the most boxes that she ever sold before and didn't have to go walk door to door to get there. And she was like, oh, that's why I do that.
Light bulb.
And now I can't get her to run out of money, which is really amazing and like proud dad right there. But at the same point in time, I'm like, I want you to feel the struggle, kid. And you're not going to. Like she found rabbit hole. Sorry.
No,
Sorry,
go ahead.
guys.
Go ahead. We talk about it.
But like she found these perfumes at like Sephora or one of these stores that they go buy makeup and stuff at. And the store had apparently put the perfume out like a week before the release date. So she saw it. She didn't have her money with her. So she goes to my wife and she's like, can I borrow money from you? I want to buy 5 of these and I will give you $5 per bottle we sell to borrow the money. So she wanted to buy 5 $30 bottles of perfume and she's going to give her as interest the $30 plus $5 back. And my wife's, sure, okay, no problem. Well, she went and sold each of these bottles for $80 a piece. And I'm like, we should have taken 20 and she still was going to make a lot of money. But like, are you kidding me? A 13-year-old is going out and $45 in profit times 5 in an hour. But now on the other side of it, like proud dad moment, hey, I taught her to think outside the box a little bit. She's looking at life and opportunity differently. So being able to do that for other kids, provide ways for people to think differently would be an amazing dream because I think the world is going to be a significantly better place.
Got it. So your daughter is basically going to be a better entrepreneur than you is what I heard.
That's the goal.
Which is the goal. It's funny. I talk to so many people on a regular basis, and
not you.
I know, right? I'm a chatterbox. I think for me, parenting. You know what you just described is a reflection of, I'm sure, your daughter watching you, and your wife, and gaining that example from you guys that you probably didn't even think was happening.
In those moments, definitely not.
Right?
Like,
and I look at my kids, right? And that's one of the largest reasons, and I don't really say this too often, but that's one of the largest reasons why I do what I do. I believe in changing the trajectory of family dynamic. In my culture, it's almost like you called me bougie earlier, right? Oh, I'm gonna put you on blast right here on the podcast.
On blast.
On blast.
What kind of car you got? Fancy?
moving on. Like I was saying,
I'm just
you called me bougie. And it's funny because a lot of people, and I know you were playing around with me, but a lot of people will like look down at you for, wanting the better life, and my parents, they moved us out of the Bronx in the projects and they moved us to Mesa, Arizona, which was a culture shock like no other. But I'm thankful that they did that.
Yep.
Because it showed me a visibility of more. Like there's more out there than just living in the projects, waking up, doing the same old grind every single day. Like there's more out there. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I do what I do is because I'm showing my kids that there's more out there because I'm doing more than what my parents showed me.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for parenting, for people, to actually know that in parenting, your example starts from when they're born as they grow, and it never stops because they're always watching you.
Always. And
always.
It's funny. 3-4 years ago, your daughter learning, watching you and whatever. And like, yeah, no, I know that. I get it. Mm-hmm. Now that she's like 14 with a personality and I want to, occasionally just like give her a taste of her own medicine. The reason I want to do that is I'm like, she's just like me. Like she's literally little mini me. Now I know why Mark gets frustrated dealing with me for 2 straight days.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. It's only 2 days, 48 hours, and then I got to send him home. But with that being said, I'm going to turn this around a little bit. We've been on the podcast for about 30 minutes now, and I'm going to turn this around. So I'm going to let you ask me some questions.
It sounds like a plan.
And here's the deal with this. I'm open, but you get what you get. Is that fair?
Well, I don't expect anything less.
There we go. All right. So I'll let you kick it.
So, it's interesting. You have your podcast and figure it the F out. So, quick question: do we curse on this podcast?
You can. Yeah,
we can.
You can.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I tell everybody that's ever come on here, I'm like, you can curse, but when it becomes the typical Marine like I used to be, where every other word was the F word,
fair, it's too much.
It gets a little okay. We get it.
Yeah.
Your excessiveness of enunciations are good. Like, let's stop. Okay, go ahead.
I like it. So I think one of the biggest skill sets in life is the ability to problem solve.
Yes.
And in other words, kind of figure it the F out, right?
Yeah.
As we think through that. So one of the questions you asked me earlier, I'd love to kind of repose that to you. Like,
okay,
what has one of your biggest struggles that you've had to work through been, and what does that look like?
I'm going through the list to see which one is on top because there's so many. I always say, and my team right here can tell you, every day is an adventure. Mm-hmm. Every day is a new day, and it's always something new. And I even have a song for it. Every day there's something new, and that keeps me like sane. Yep. Legitimately, I know it's funny, but it literally keeps me sane. And sing.
Your singing is kind of like my dancing.
Oh, yes, it's just as horrible. Absolutely. Quick. But that's why that's why my media guys over here cracking up. That's why I do that, because I'm just like, here we go. Here, another challenge.
Yep.
I will say this, that the challenge of going from military to the civilian world has always been the greatest obstacle.
Yep.
And I shout this out, and I'm going to look at the camera real here for all you veterans that are out there. You're not alone. We've all dealt with it or are dealing with it. Those that are transitioning, we get it. It's one of the hardest things ever. My wife legitimately watched me 2 years prior to her retirement retire and go through a hard transition where I didn't even know what my first name was. I had no idea. It was so hard. It was so hard to hear it. Like, people would say, "Hey, Mark," and I'm like, that's weird. You know what I mean? Because I had always been referred to as Gunnery Sergeant Rodriguez or Gunny Rod or Hey Gunny, So it was like I never heard my first name.
Yeah.
And so it was odd. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, really? It's like, yeah. Like, it was very, well, what did your wife call you? Babe. So I didn't hear Mark from her. You know what I mean? So I just never really heard that. And then my kids call me dad, so I never heard my first name.
Yeah.
So that was the greatest challenge.
Okay.
But then also with that, right? How does my 21 years of experience in the military transition into this world, this business world? And how can I maximize my efforts from that into here?
Mm-hmm.
All the things I learned does not get dismissed just because now I'm not active duty.
Yep.
And I see so many military service members, veterans, that they think that almost like as soon as their end of active service, okay, all that's gone away now. I'm starting brand new and fresh. And none of that is transferable. And yes, it is 100%. And that was a very hard thing for me to learn. Leadership challenges are different. In the Marine Corps, they're based off the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You know what I mean? So there's laws, there's rules that are already in the military that I can only do this or you can only do that or so and so. We're in the civilian world. The laws are the laws of America. There is no,
Less black and white.
oh yeah, you know what I mean? You can't just go. Well, moral of the story is even cursing somebody out.
Yeah.
In the military, I can curse somebody out and they're like, yes, Sergeant, and they move out. You curse somebody out in the civilian world and it's verbal assault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different world. So, some of the things that I think that were hard for me and the biggest challenges was understanding how to relate and how do I mold it all together and still be successful on this side of the world.
Taking your knowledge into civilian world, you mean?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I dealt with so much, and I know me and you had a conversation. Like I used to teach, logistics and administrative procedures and training and whether physical training or just training in general, businesses and corporations have their training for their employees. I did that facilitation, it's like a curriculum development,
Yeah.
It's like all those things. How does that transfer into this world over here? So that was one of my greatest challenges, and it was hard. And when I moved to Texas, and I became more of a leadership role because now I'm the boss of my gym and my facility, and having to lead all these independent contractors, which I will tell everybody, I'm going to look at the camera one more time. I'm going to tell everybody, if you get into the business model with independent contractors, that's a whole different world than employees and 1099s, W-2s and 1099s. I'll tell you that right now.
Two different people.
Oh, two different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my people over at my private training facility, but to say that I haven't gone through some leadership challenges with, people that are either not there or people that are there that grew and matured or, they're just better business owners. Those were leadership challenges because technically I don't got to listen to you. I got to pay attention to, the rules of the house. But other than that, I do what I want to do. You don't control me. Whereas employees, 1099s, I can say, no, you either do it or you're fired. It's just a different world. But I liked it.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really find anybody that could teach me how to do it.
Yep.
So I was like, well, let me be the person that can learn here. And I'm a pioneer, so to speak, of leadership challenge, number X with, independent contractors.
You should really look into doing some type of leadership course and training.
I can't stand you right now. So yes, I am going to be doing leadership coaching. Okay, a leadership actual platform coming up here in January 25. Yes, January 25.
Well, yesterday you said June, so we sped it up by 6 months. I'll take that win.
But we are going to be packaging this leadership experience into helping others with leadership dilemmas. And how do you get through leadership conflicts and resolve it for everything to move forward? And yes, that's coming down the pipeline, so be on the lookout. And he's going to help me do it. So, but I like to talk about, I know you're asking me questions, but I also want to talk about this because I think it was important for everybody to know. Me and you meeting. Because me and you were two different cats. We're not we're two different cats,
Like
man.
brothers.
You're a weird ass dude,
We're two different cats. Jeez.
But I love you, man.
We're very similar people.
We are. Our brotherhood actually stemmed from meeting on Zoom.
Meeting on Zoom. I think no, we didn't get phone numbers that day.
We did not.
I think we had emails.
We had emails.
And I messed up the email. I remember because it was I thought it was at self-made or whatever
Yep.
it was, and it wasn't, and like you didn't get my email and you never responded. And I'm like, he don't like me. He don't want what I got. All right, cool.
Yeah, and you were the VP of a company that we were associated with at the time, and I was introducing myself to both you and the president and CEO at the time.
Yep.
And we were, getting to know each other because I was actually referred to that company from a friend of mine. Shout out Tina Dominguez, and we then got to meet each other on Zoom. But it was 4 people on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
So fast forward, that was. I get we had a couple phone calls, but then you had hit me up in 2022 and said, "Hey, man, I got an idea for you. I can come by and check out your company with Self-Made and actually do an assessment, but like kind of an unofficial assessment of your company and
Come
give
see
you
if I
some
can help.
and come give you some ideas of possibly how to with my expertise because you were consulting." And I said, "Yeah." I talked to the CEO. He said, "Sure." And then you brought shout out to Kale, my man Kale Owen. You brought Kale with you, and I remember when you guys showed up, Kale had his snake shoes, snake skin shoes. He's like, "It's ostrich, bro."
Ostrich.
And but we spent 2.5 days together, right?
Yeah, 2 nights I slept there, so 2
Yeah.
2 to 3 days.
And it was crazy because I learned more in those 2 days than I had in like years. And it was the craziest thing because business-wise, it wasn't just about life. It was business-wise. And what really struck me at this moment was my lack of education on a lot of different aspects. And both of you were just feeding me stuff. And a lot of it, I had no idea what you were talking about. You were speaking Russian to me. And I was like, dude, I have no idea. I'm going to look this up. Like LTV, for instance, had no idea what LTV stands for. I knew what KPIs meant. But I was like, look, my media team's like, we have no idea neither, boss. Right? Lifetime value and how it's the lifetime value of a customer and how it's actually the math that goes behind it. And so it was quite interesting learning. And that's how we ultimately met. And then we just continued the relationship. Went to conferences. I would see you there. And we just kept seeing each other and talking. And then I would reach out to you for advice. And you would always give it straight, as much as sometimes I was like, this dude's, out of control. You always gave it to me straight, and that's what I love about you, man. And I'll forever be indebted to you for a lot of the solutions you have given me in many of professional crisis.
I mean, I listen, I've called you. I've asked, hey, I need an opinion. What's your thought? Like, that's very much a two-way street. There's no measuring sticks going on here. And I mean, the other side of it too, and I know you do some of it because I don't like the spotlight per se, but it's also on that side of things. Like you're a person who your people, you want them to meet all your other people. You're that natural networker. Like, hey, this guy, this dude, this whatever has something, and you should meet because. And I think that's one of probably your greatest assets that you undervalue, where you just want everybody to win. And you root for everybody who is in your corner and you're in their corner, et cetera. And not many people are like that. So as much as I've helped you and all that and whatnot, but it's also that you've always believed in me. And that stuff is kind of nice. Because sometimes you're like, do I really know what I'm talking about? Oh, is this thing really going to help somebody? Can I truly go out and change the world? Like, am I that crazy, or am I crazy enough to get it done kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But you're always that person like, bro, I got a mission. I need you to show up at my house dressed in black, ready to go. Like, you're ready to go. You're that guy.
Let's go.
That's really valuable.
I always love that movie. What's that movie where he was like, hey, we're going to go do really bad things to some really bad people. And he was like, who's driving? Yeah, the town, right? That's me. Who's driving? That's real talk. All right. So I think that sums up the storyline of, of how we met.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, so
because I know you've got an agenda. I could just see it on your face. You got an agenda. You want to hit it, and So
no, I don't want to interrupt you. I know how you don't like that.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
Sure.
I'm positive.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's go.
Succinctly. I'd love to dive in a little bit here about what your version of freedom is for you.
when you talk about freedom, you're talking about your acronym,
No,
or you just talk about freedom in general.
your ability to be free, and like, what are you waking up and chasing every day? Like, what is it for? What does that allow you to do? What are the things you care about having the ability to do in life, and what does that look like?
Man, well, first and foremost, I mean, if I would be, remiss to not say financial freedom. I mean, everybody wants financial freedom. I don't care who you are. You can sit here and you can lie all you want. You want financial freedom. And financial freedom does mean something different to everybody, though, right? Because it could be, where I do not want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. Let me finish because I can see you already, right?
I want to define what rich is because I don't know what.
Okay, so rich is people who
rich.
have a large amount of money, right? And like large amount of money that spend it on just ridiculous things. And it's all about a status symbol, right?
Okay.
And so it's a status thing. Like, I'm rich. It's status, Think of Richie Rich.
Okay.
Oh, I'm taking it back in the day, right? Think about that. It was like, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich.
So you just got the thing for the sake of
I think
people can know you have money.
And listen to this. This is good. I think that the people that are wealthier are smarter than people that are rich.
Okay.
You can put your own self in whatever plug that is, whatever shoes that is, that's on you. As far as those people that are out there saying, well, who is he talking about? I'm like, you figure it out. But for me, I want to be wealthy.
Okay.
I don't want to be rich, right? Don't need no fancy, house. I love my house. I don't need a fancy car. I got a nice car right now. I don't need the freaking, the jewelry and all that stuff. I got my rubber ring and I'm cool, right? It's like, let's call it a day. I think this is $11.
I was going to say, we love our $13 t-shirts.
Yeah, right? I don't need that. Now, financial freedom is always a beautiful thing to be able to pick up. I always tell my team this and all people around me. I want to be able to go to the Bahamas on a Wednesday. Just go to the Bahamas. Like, literally wake up and go, hey, babe, you want to go to the Bahamas today? And we're in Texas. And she's like, you know what? Yeah. And we go. We charter a private plane. We go to the Bahamas. We lay on the beach. Maybe ride a jet ski or two. Of course, I'll have a mocktail, not a cocktail, because I don't drink, right? And then later on that night, we're like, you know what? Let's stay for dinner. We stay for dinner. We get a nice hotel, nice suite. Wake up the next day, get back on the plane, come back. It's Thursday. We go back to business. But we didn't blink an eye on any money. We didn't use any credit cards. We just literally just went and was like, that was fun. Let's get back to business. That's how I want to be.
Okay.
So that's the first. That to me is financial freedom. To do whatever you want to do and not blink an eye.
What you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it.
Without blinking an eye.
Okay.
That to me is the beauty.
Okay.
So that's, I would say, my selfish reasons, even though my wife is involved in that. My second one is my team. And I can get choked up even talking about it. I believe in them more than they believe in themselves.
Yep.
And that's never going to go away. Ever. And my team doesn't just consist of my media team and the people that are like right there with me because they're the ones closest to me.
Sure.
But it's anybody who's around me that I have the power of influence. Mm-hmm. And that can sometimes be a lot further than what people think. This morning, I had a gentleman, shout out my boy Joshua Landrum. He's a chief warrant officer in the Marine Corps. He's like nearing 26 years in the Marine Corps right now. He just recently went sober a few years ago, and I was the first one he called when he went sober because he watched my social media video about my sobriety and decided like, hey, man, if you can do it, I can do it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I only served with Josh for a little bit. I didn't have a real close relation with him, but we developed that close relation when he made that phone call to me and he was struggling and he decided to go sober. And shout out to him because he celebrated 2 years of sobriety. And that to me, you can't put a price point on that.
100%.
You can't put a price point on, Tony, my media guy over here, sitting to my left, making the most money he's ever made from the craft that he is passionate about a couple months ago and calling me and say, if you didn't push me, I probably wouldn't have made this. Mm-hmm. You can't put a price tag on that. Like that is so valuable. And I think that a lot, I know there is a tremendous amount of people out there that have lost their way of what truly is important, which is teaching. If you know it, give it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you know it, give it back. So they've lost their way with that particular mindset. And I refuse to lose my way with that. I refuse to put myself before others because I feel that if I put myself into others, others will allow me to get to where I need to be because their success is going to be my success and so on and so forth. Now, I am the driving force. I get it. Being a leader, you take the heat. You take the blunt of all the stuff that comes, you know, at you, and you're the first line of defense when problems exist. The team shouldn't feel it until they need to feel it, but you need to feel it first. And a lot of leaders don't know how to do that. They pass the buck. You talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
It was them, it's them, it's them, it's them, it's them, it's them. Not me. I'm like, yo, I got it. Move. But what's beautiful, this is the beautiful part. What's beautiful is when your team says, hey, no, boss.
We got it.
We got it.
Yeah.
Yo, there's no price tag on that. There's no price tag on that. So when you talk about freedom and when you talk about what success is, like to me, that's successful. And that's what's going to ultimately give me my freedom is one day to be able to walk off and look at all my team and say, yo, y'all got it? And they're like, we got it, boss. Go chill. Throw up the peace sign and go to the Bahamas on a Wednesday.
Go to the Bahamas on a Wednesday.
I hope that answered your question.
It's the best answer I've gotten so far. It's the best answer I've gotten so far.
And the only answer you've got.
Well, you had to give me an answer here. You weren't going to skirt around it again because I got you captured.
Yeah, I give
you don't want me. You don't want me having proof that you don't answer my questions.
I give you that, man. It's sad, Steve. You know, I mean, as business owners, you're a tremendously successful individual. You've been around a lot of big name folks. It's sad to see how many people forget what the true ultimate mission is because they're so aligned with money and they're so aligned with lining their pockets that they don't think about the people that really matter, the people that are the driving force. You know, it's almost like I have this Lamborghini, but I can give two shits about the engine.
Yeah. Well, so
Go ahead.
I'm firing up my podcast here soon.
Yep.
And the first episode, the first line in the first episode, and it's just a quick 5-minute, like, hey, I'm here to change the world. Like I'm doing the talking right into the mic and trying to, that voice and everything and just go, right?
Little Barry White behind you.
Barry White.
I got you.
Lean into that.
Uh-huh.
But no interview, no nothing, just 5 minutes. And I open up with, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an old African proverb that has always hit home for me since I allowed it to hit home for me. And, for me, my relationships are the most valuable thing. If I didn't have good relationships in my professional career, I would not be where I'm at today. That's one of the most important things that I've ever been able to get a part of because those people pour into me just like I pour into them. And that's an important thing. So I totally get what you're saying. I completely align with it. 2-3 weeks ago, I even made a post on Facebook. It's a sad day when you forget about the people that helped get you where you're at today.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that happens all the time.
Far too many times.
Correct.
But, and then some people may say, well, that's your fault, because their moral compass is like, well, I don't really give a shit. I care about me and I care about me only. And that's it. I don't really care what you got to say, Mark, with your, do for others type bullshit. Like, I just want to make money. Mm-hmm. And, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Doesn't align with me though, and so when one thing I tell my team is like, are you going to make a shit ton of money right this second? The answer is an absolute no. You're not. So if that's something you're looking for, then hey, the door's right there. Mm-hmm. I wish you the best. I'm here if you need me. I'll still give you advice. But this train is progressively moving and we're going to grow together. And as we grow, we learn. But the cool part is that I welcome everybody's initiative and creativity. So Tony, for instance, and Webster, both of them, they're masters at their craft. I don't hold cameras. I don't do videography. I don't do that. I lean on them.
I do it. It's just I do it really bad.
Yeah.
Really
I
bad.
don't even know how to filter my damn phone. I don't know none of that stuff. So, I lean on them for their guidance, but in the same return, I invest in their education. So that way they learn. And I also, like you said, I introduce them to my network because that's powerful, And so I think that there's give and take with my team. And it's just, for me, I think a lot of people have found out or lost that. They've lost that notion of taking care of your people, and they'll eventually take care of you. They will. But you have to always remember to remind them of the journey and the destination.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lost thing as well, because all the destination is in the hierarchy's head, and it's like, oh, well, I know where we're going. And it's like, well, that good for you.
Yeah.
But none of us fucking do. So how about you tell us? And it's Anyways, moving forward.
Mark with an F-bomb.
It's my damn show, damn it. I can do that.
But no, I think one of the most important skills for a leader to have is their ability to continue to paint the vision, potentially update the vision, and make sure that they communicate and really relay the mission and what the goal of that mission is. Because it's easy to get out and just start grinding and going and doing and like, wait, why am I doing this again? Like, what's the bigger purpose here? And we were talking about earlier, like, be more human and just like be better, like all these things. And it's like, at the end of the day, we're all here to positively contribute to society, and in very different aspects, right? And not everybody has to go and crazy achieve all these humongous dreams. Like, if everybody wanted to be top dog, it'd be a really bad world. So we need everybody that wants to play kind of at different levels, but it doesn't mean you can't play all out at your level and do your thing really, really well and grow and learn and all those pieces. But it's all about kind of that vision. What do I want? In my language, what's your version of freedom?
No.
So,
well, I tell you, man, it's the other thing. There's one more thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is what's my definition of freedom is massive education, not college. Everybody always goes to college and they're like, oh, how many degrees you want? You want to know? And they I'm talking about massive education, realistically, and scholarly. I think that there should be a harmony between the two. But just because you got, I met plenty of freaking idiots with degrees. So just because you got a degree doesn't make you smart. But I will say this: that if you do have a degree, don't let that be the end. Like, continuously educate. And I think that's a level of freedom when you get to a point where you have such massive education that you can, you essentially can do whatever you want because don't do this, do that. And it works for you. It works for you because it works.
Yep.
So I think that's super important, to have that as well.
So what's between now and the next time we're on a podcast together?
Yep.
Which is an undefined amount of time.
Absolutely.
What is a skill or knowledge that you might like to start acquiring more of, get better at, hone in? Like, what's top of mind to help serve people?
Well, number one is getting that leadership coaching program put together. That was something that, it was eye-opening when we had the discussion yesterday. And, you started telling me frameworks of how to put that together. And I was like, wow, and it opened my eyes to, this is something I would like to do. Ultimately, everybody knows my goal. I am very outspoken about what I want to do. I want to retire at 55. So I got 9 more years. And then on my 55th birthday, I want to have my 55, birthday cake, pineapple upside down, always made fresh by my wife every year. I'm very consistent. And I want to have my retirement party that same day. And when I say retirement, that means I don't want to operate nothing. Now, I don't mind, being a shareholder, having income coming in, but I don't want to touch nothing. I don't want to work nothing. I don't want to lead anybody. I just want to get on stages and teach. And if for the rest of my life, from 55 on, just invite me to your stage and I'll come, I'll wow the crowd, teach them really something tangible to walk away with that they're going to better their businesses. And then I go home. And if I want to go to the Bahamas on a Wednesday, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'm always going to refer back to that. Like, everybody's like laughing, but I'll be a dead serious.
Okay.
Y'all go see me on the Bahamas and be like, dude, that dude was serious. He was really, yes.
I'm going to make my first conference that you speak on my stage. Like, in the Bahamas on a Thursday, so you got to fly on Wednesday. Like, Mark, I got you to fly to the Bahamas on a Wednesday, bro. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so that's my ultimate goal. Like my ultimate goal is retirement at 55, but I want to build in the next 9 years. I want to build these businesses. Manifest Fitness Institute, I want it to grow to be an international business. So when you ask me what I want to educate myself on, I want to educate myself on international, business relations. How do I build an international business? I'm intrigued. I want to know, how do I take this international? I think with everything I do with my craft, whether it's the gym with personal training, Manifest Fitness Institute with teaching and educating, my software company Rose and Connect, and learning more about, because with software is always evolving. So that's a continuous learning thing, especially with AI. Everything's coming out now. It's everything's brand new, so you got to spin yourself back up. So that keeps me going, and then feeding it to these guys so they can be digital marketing geniuses. And that's kind of what I want to continue to do. We have a exec wellness, our corporate wellness program that we're building, and how to make that a national entity, and with a better way maintenance, how to grow that as not so much a nonprofit organization, but something that's catered to the military skill bridge program, where military service members can get out and they have a job that they can come to in any part of the United States. They can learn a trade of fixing whether gym equipment or handyman services and things of that nature. And it could just be all across the United States, where military service members can always have something that they can get into that can, use their hands, because there's a lot of people that are not business savvy, but they're great laborers. They got like, hey, I want to turn wrenches. I don't want to do none of that business stuff. Cool. Here you go. So, between all those entities and then just continuing my masterminds and this podcast, of course, and everything like that, that's what I want to continue to do. That's the learning. That's the education I want to do. So it's always perfecting your craft on a regular basis.
Okay.
Hope I answered your question.
What do you want to? What you did, but you did a mark there. You pulled a mark, and I'm on to you. It's been 2 days of this. Succinctly,
that's a $25 word again. We talked about this. Give me the $2 word
in a short manner.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand what succinctly means?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you understand the $25 word then?
I do.
Why is it $25 and not like $100?
Man, $25 just makes sense to me. It's more than $2.
If it makes sense, it makes dollars.
There you go.
What skill?
Got it.
Does Mark want to start learning or be more proficient in between now and our next podcast? In a short amount of words. International business.
Say that one more time.
What skill?
What
thing would you like to start exploring, acquiring? A good example. I wanted to teach myself to day trade this year. Okay. Like, I want an answer kind of like that. You want to teach yourself chess?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Origami?
No.
Okay.
That literally is going to be on the video. You're going to hear the team in the background laughing. This is okay.
That landed perfectly. Like, that was
so no origami at all.
No origami. Geez, I honestly can say that the only skill set I want to learn has everything with being on the stage. There's a lot of things that you brought up I don't know, and I can openly admit that. We talked about and even Kale, when I had the conversation with Kale last weekend, he also broke out some questions that I didn't know the answers to, and I couldn't answer. And I was like, I wasn't frustrated. I just realized I got to learn those answers, So I think learning about being on stage and what it takes to be on stage, to be able to speak at conferences, and be able to give not only just the information, because there's one thing for somebody to get on stage and give it. Look, let me tell y'all something. Those of you out there that get on stages, I've been to millions of conferences and millions of seminars and all that good stuff. If you're going to get on stage, build a connection with the people in the audience, please. Because I can sit here and I can do death by PowerPoint all day long. And it's just like, I'm not interested in that.
Do we see him yet again avoid, like, we feel this, right? Okay. We feel this.
Yeah, well, that's the answer you're going to get. Once again, like I said earlier, accept the answer you're going to get, okay?
I heard you, I think, say the word direct. And direct feels like I'm going to get a very direct, short, very understandable answer.
Better stage presence.
Not.
How's that work?
The last thing you need is better stage presence.
Okay, then better stage, like better framework to get on stage. There you go.
So
I like that one better because that's the other thing. There's a couple people out there that have this. I'll teach you how to be a speaker on stage, right? And then I see all that information and I'm like, I know all that, right? So what are you teaching me? So, but then I have to give them credit because they're doing something I'm not.
So when are we going to get you in front of a room?
When you invite me.
By the end of the year?
When you invite me.
I don't have an event that I can invite you to.
Well, I mean, bro, you got a
It's
network.
getting a little spicy here right now.
I mean,
You feel that?
I mean, at the end of the day, this is why I love him. I love him because he challenges me. I like that. Like I challenge you guys.
So by the end of the year.
Sure.
Okay. Done. What's the first step to get there?
By the end of which year? 24 or 25?
This year.
Okay, 24. That's a short amount of time. I'm talking 4 months.
You better get moving.
Okay.
You better get moving.
Very well. Challenge accepted.
So step one, we're going to work on the framework and make sure we got everything.
Absolutely.
Down
And
pat.
I like that.
All right.
And then step 2?
Get on stage.
Got it.
In front of a room.
You know me.
Okay.
All I need to do is all you got to do is invite me. I'll be there.
You know I'm going to find you a room now.
Get me that room.
And you better be ready.
You know I'll fucking wow that excuse me. See, I was about to I'm going to tell you this. That's a second F-bomb. You make me drop F-bombs. I'm going to tell you this. You put me on any stage at any given time, and I will be ready like no other.
So,
the thing is, I just need that one opportunity. And if I have that one opportunity, I guarantee you people will be like, yo, we want this dude on the stage.
It feels like a good spot.
The problem is that I get a lot of people that, because I don't have the amount of revenue that other people have, right? I mean, let's call it what it is. Well, call it what it is that I don't have a lot of revenue and I don't have a lot of followers on Instagram, but I got a lot of people that follow me. Real people, by the way. Real people. I'm just throwing that out there. And yes, I'm throwing shade. Real people that actually hit me up, call me and say.
You got a soapbox under there?
For real. So having a large amount of Instagram followers to me don't mean shit because I've met plenty of shitty people that have large amounts of following.
Yep.
And they just, oh, look at, they got so many followers. Yeah, but they're still idiots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, get somebody on your stage that's going to be relevant, that's going to give great advice for people to be successful, not look at me and look how great I am.
So if I find a room for you on September 15th.
Okay.
To go speak in front of and start talking.
Let's go.
You're down?
Absolutely. Come on, really? Are you really asking me this?
I am.
You should know me by now.
I
was ready yesterday.
Yes or no? I just need to.
Yes.
Yes. Got it.
Just real quick, are we actually saying that date? Is there a reason why you picked that date? Is that something that's possible? Because I think we have some events in September coming up.
We do. But you know what? I'll drop the damn event. I'll show it to wherever you're at.
Oh, man.
Well, now, so I trapped him here. He doesn't know I trapped him, but I trapped him. Because now
he doesn't know I trapped him.
Well, I just told him.
Yeah.
I told you. I told you. You know what I'm doing all the time.
I do. And that's why I'm go ahead. I'm entertaining it.
No, I know.
This is
appreciate
fun.
it.
Yeah.
So yesterday you told me you could go stand in front of a room and teach people.
Yes.
For coaching.
I can.
Okay. So we're going to make that happen. We're going to make that phone call today on the drive back.
Okay.
Done.
Look, I'm like, what's the secret sauce here? It's like, okay.
No, there is no secret sauce.
Let's go.
But yesterday you told me June. Now I got September 15th.
No, so here we go.
So
I told you, I see what you're doing here. Now I just put two and two together. Mm-hmm. Okay. That I'm not doing. I told you I'll get on stage. I'm not. Okay. So we've got 9 minutes, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows.
You only get 2.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
7.
Okay. No. We got 9 minutes,
yes.
and I'm gonna tell everybody. So
we're gonna lose this part of the podcast.
This is what happened. This is what happened. What happened was an individual asked me, how much do I charge for leadership coaching?
Mhm.
And I told him that I do not feel comfortable teaching him or giving him a price point for a coaching program because I don't have one established. He said, well, I don't care. I'll still pay you. And I said, no, you won't until I have something established because I want to put in KPIs. I wanted to put in like actual milestones, things of that nature. Like I'm not going to go and just do a leadership coaching program where I'm just on call, like, because I feel like that's diluted, number one. Number two is that I'm not going to take advantage of the consumer. Like, no, I want to give you the best.
Mhm.
So I don't feel comfortable until that structure is put together. So,
Which I can appreciate.
yeah.
But would you
So I'm not starting that leadership coaching program September 15th.
I didn't ask you to do that. I said, would you go stand in front of a room and talk?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But that's different.
No, hold on.
You see what we do? This is what we do every time we're on the
You're
phone.
being really black and white right now. I need a little gray area, okay? A little gray. I know I'm really black and white, so I get it. But right now I'm gray, okay? But here's what I... This is a joke. This is what's going on right now.
Just come on, work with me here.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm the minority right now.
Come
Got
on, dude. Let's go.
Can you go speak in front of that room
Uh-huh.
on September 15th,
Uh-huh.
completely for free,
Uh-huh.
and give them a 1-hour lecture on leadership?
You got it. You goddamn right I can.
Easy.
Absolutely.
So you're not starting a coaching program.
Okay.
You're just going to teach them something.
Let's go.
Done.
I'm ready.
Okay. So
love
you're
it.
making that phone call today.
Cool.
Done. I mean,
Can't really
I-
drop these mics. 'cause
yeah,
they're
I
kind
was-
of expensive.
I was like, if I undo that, does it fall down and I win? Is that so? See?
Right. Marine Corps taught me a lot about leadership.
Yep.
And the one thing they did teach me was you always got to be ready.
Mhm.
Right? Always ready. Okay? At any given moment. In combat as well. You never know when the flag's going to go up, right, gentlemen? Never know when that flag's going to go up. But in training, that's what it's all about, is we train to fight. So we train as if it's the real shit. So that's how I feel about what you're just telling me right now. It's like, well, you're going to go up and get on stage. I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready to roll. I got my weapon up in my shoulder, ready to align it. 2 shots to the chest and 1 to the head if we got to. Let's go. That was a little graphic, but it is what it is. Right? Now, the reason why I bring this up is because for everybody out there, you have to be ready. You have to be ready. Do we need to go on a pause?
How much time you guys think?
Oh, we only got 6 more minutes.
My battery's blinking red.
Okay.
So I probably got maybe 5 minutes. But if,
Okay.
if it cuts, I'll
So just edit
Yep,
this part out,
thank
okay?
you. I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. So with that, you always have to be ready. That's the moral of the story. And as you prepare yourself and you have somebody like this leader here, this wonderful leader, which I'm going to close this out and say thank you
You're
for
welcome.
being here, man. And this is one of many podcasts, one of many everything that we do.
You know what we should do? We should do like a traveling comedy leadership show together, because people would laugh and get something out of there.
It's a great idea, actually. It's going to be a great idea. Let me ask you a question, or actually ask you for something before we roll.
Yes.
One gem that you can give to the crowd from this whole podcast, what would it be?
One gem. So funny, my wife calls me a gem once in a while, and it's code word for giant egotistical maniac. So just throwing that out there real quick.
Go ahead.
Here's my one gem. You have to take more action, and you have to take rapid action. And the word action is, on the surface level, literally go get something done and do something and just work towards wherever you're going. But I'd like you to shift perspective on that a little bit. It's actually an acronym, and it's any change towards improving one's norm. And the hard reality in today's world is people don't take enough action to change their circumstances, and they're knowingly, unknowingly playing the victim. So take more action is going to be my gem that I'm going to leave everybody with today.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I can't wait for the next one. Everybody out there, thank you so much. Remember to share, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Tell everybody about this podcast. We are back. Project FitFo podcast, where we figure it the F out, and we are out of here. Hey, get it. Hey.
I'm a bigger problem when I click with Skrillex. Murder on my mind, it's time to pray to God. My revolver's not religious, the revolution.